In this lesson, we're going to learn how to introduce other people and how to respond to those we're being introduced to. There are two objectives. First is be able to introduce a colleague or coworker to someone they haven't met. And second, respond appropriately, politely, to an introduction. When you are introducing two people who do not know each other, you should use their names. For example, Jeff Sherman, I'd like you to meet Linda Zhang. Or you can use their first names. Jeff, this is Linda. That's less formal. Here's the example. Jeff Sherman, I'd like you to meet Linda Zhang. Jeff, this is Linda. Please remember, the first expression in white is more formal. The second expression is friendlier. Friendly, less formal. Then you want to tell them where they work, where the people work. She's in charge of our marketing division. She's in charge of something means she's the boss of something. She's the marketing manager or the boss. You could also say, she's from human resources. He's from marketing. I'm from sales. After you've introduced the two people using their names and their division, then you should let them know why you're making the introduction. What is the purpose of the introduction? He will be joining us today. That means he will stay at our meeting. He will be here with us together at our meeting. Or she'll be sitting in. She's going to stay for some time and then she'll leave. She'll be sitting in means she will be here with us. Both of these expressions have the same meaning, but the expression in yellow, she'll be sitting in, is less formal. When you respond to an introduction, if someone is introducing you to someone else, you may see these expressions. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Zhang. Very formal. And she said, please call me Linda. So if you want to establish a friendlier atmosphere, you can use this expression. Please call me Josh. Please call me Jeff. Nice to meet you, Linda. Nice to meet you, too. We looked at responding in the previous lesson. A formal way to respond to an introduction is like this. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Zhang. This means it's nice to meet you, Linda, but it's very formal. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Zhang. The pleasure is mine. This means that she wants to keep the interaction formal. You may also choose to use a personal statement. If you have heard your colleague talk about Linda before, you might tell Linda, I've heard a lot about you. Or you might say, Max has told me so much about you. To respond to this, you can simply say, all good, I hope. This is a very common way to respond to this type of personal statement. All good, I hope. This means, I hope everything you've been told is good. You haven't heard anything bad about me. Let's watch a video of someone introducing two people and simply watch for the expressions you learned.
Stephen Price, I'd like you to meet Tom Smith. He's our VP of Finance and he'll be joining us today.
Nice to meet you, Tom. I've heard a lot about you.
All good, I hope.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to listen one more time with no subtitles. This time, listen for the people's names, their job, and the purpose of the introduction.
Stephen Price, I'd like you to meet Tom Smith. He's our VP of Finance and he'll be joining us today.
Nice to meet you, Tom. I've heard a lot about you.
All good, I hope.
Absolutely.
So we heard Tom Smith being introduced to Stephen Price. He is a VP of Finance, a Vice President in the Finance Division, and the purpose of the introduction is Steve will be joining us today. He will be joining us today. Let's practice making introductions. Take the woman's role, introduce the two people, introduce Stephen to Tom, and be sure to speak out loud.
Nice to meet you, Tom. I've heard a lot about you.
All good, I hope.
Absolutely.
This time, take Stephen's role and respond to Tom. Be sure to speak out loud, following the instructions on the screen. Respond quickly.
Stephen Price, I'd like you to meet Tom Smith. He's our VP of Finance and he'll be joining us today.
All good, I hope.
In this lesson, we looked at introducing other people. And remember that when you're introducing someone, you can use their full names, Stephen Price, or their given name, Stephen. You should also state their job or position. He's a VP of Finance and the purpose of the meeting. He will be joining us today. She will be sitting in today. When you're responding to an introduction, if you want to use very formal language, you can say, "It's a pleasure to meet you." Respond with, "The pleasure is mine." And finally, if you want, you can use a personal statement. "I've heard a lot about you." And responding to that, "All good, I hope." In the next lesson, we're going to look at introducing yourself and a colleague.